Hello everyone, this is Mark again. I've showed you in the previous video my remote controlled canal boat in Amsterdam. Now I'm showing you what components I've used for this, basically this power servo I've created here. Well, servo, it's not really a servo. I created it into a motor. It's easier for me to use. The servo is just as easy. You just have to make sure that you have a changing resistance like a pot meter I have here, which is then connected to one of your motors, so it will stop turning. For me, for this one, I have not done this. I've this pot meter for that motor, basically to trim it in the neutral position. As you can see, if I change it, the motor starts changing. Yeah, so to the other side, turn it. If I put it into the middle, it will stop. That's the basic position you want to have. It's the same for the other motor. Okay, I'll show you first of all with the app, which I have. You got the app. It's an airplane I'm using at the moment. So as you see, put forward, the right motor starts turning to the forward position. Put it back, starts the other position. To the left, you see the big motor is turning. The other motor is also turning a little bit, that one, because of the fact that I'm not very sensitive in moving this button to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left. Yeah, that's basically the app. So very easily to control on single-handed. Now, I'll show you what I can do as well with the remote controller. I find that a little bit easier to work with. It's just easy to control. I'll show you. It's this switch over here. It's now pointed at receiver 1. As you can see, I switch it to receiver 2. Put on the receiver. As you see, the motor starts turning. It's because the neutral position is not correctly set. I do it with the trim switches here. So make sure it stops turning, and then I start moving. As you can see, just like I did on the boat. To the right, the motor starts, and to the other side. Easy to see like this. Left, right, and then my throttle basically is the other engine, motor actually. Forward and back. As you can see, it's still running out a little bit, so the trim is not correctly set. I can either do that over here. Now it's set on the middle, or I can use again this pot meter to set it in the middle position. So there you go. So easily switchable between an app to control with the wireless controller, CRC from Hobby King, $35 approximately. And this one via the normal remote controller, which is also about $35 on eBay. Now, normally you take this switch to switch everything off. You get it connected to 12 volt input power, as you can see, plus minus, and it goes to switch via a relay. I've switched it to the on and off position because it can handle quite a lot of power. 43 amps. So I'm using the motors at the moment at 24 volts because that's what the motor's required. The input is 12 volts, so 40 amps times 24 volts can handle about 800 watts of power on these motors. Don't even know if these motors can handle it, but as you see, it's quite powerful controller. All because this thing, it's an Arduino IBT2, and that's you can buy that on eBay. It's very cheap. It's $9 or something. I've got 2 of those for each motor. So basically, as you can see, the top half is for this motor, the bottom half is for that motor. So I'm gonna talk about the one motor, and the other one is basically a copy of it. Let me put on the system, and I'll show you how it works further in detail. So put some power on it. Always these motors, they try to walk a little bit away on the trim, and you have to use the trim over here to set the neutral position. So now it's a neutral position. Okay, so what we have here, 12 volts, the relay that goes over here, and this part 5 volts. With the remote controller. It's something you have to do continuously. Yeah, 5 volts is being used for the servos. I've taken 2 old servos, basically, as you can see, out of this very small remote controlled helicopter. You open it up, you see 3 wires coming out. These 3 wires, they are going to normally a 5 ohm potmeter, which is very tiny, of course. I'll show you a picture later on of it. Just follow the wires, and the middle one is the one you have to connect to your potmeter. Bigger potmeter, easier to use, of course. The other 2 is your pulse width modulation signal, and that's going to your Arduino input, basically, which is converting it to a higher voltage and amperage. Now, to continue with this one, this is of course connected to your receiver. As you can see, this one I think is on channel 1, and I also have a channel 2. As you can see, that's there. Yeah. Receiver 2, receiver 1, and in here I've used a sort of a switching, only the 5 volt wires to switch that to this switch, where it can up is for receiver 2 and down is for receiver 1. So input as set 12 volts, that goes into the power up converter.